No.
Food is a universal favorite. No wonder the popularity of cookery shows such as MasterChef, because food is an art. And no, I'm not trying to steer this conversation to a cookery show. Still, I am drawing your attention to the maddening meticulousness of being the perfect chef. The Bear is a show that is a behind-the-scenes recount of an award-winning chef, Carmy, short for Carmen Anthony Berzatto, played by actor Jeremy Allen White. The series is like taking a psychological trip into Carmy's mind. He has difficulty being less than excellent at his job, yet returns to his native town, Chicago, to run his late brother's rundown restaurant, The Beef, which is an Italian beef sandwich place. Christopher Storer created the show and brought in a talented support cast of Ebon Moss-Bachrach, Ayo Edebiri, and Lionel Boyce, to name a few. Before Season 4 is out, here's a recap of what you saw or missed, and much more. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Do this. Guys, I can't do this! Stop!
Season 1 exposes us to the premise of the series. The series opens with Chef Carmy taking over the reins of the rundown and chaotic restaurant, the original Beef, in River North Chicago, run by his late brother, Michael Berzatto. Michael had left behind a restaurant and his staff, who were downright obstinate and diehard Michael loyalists. As the story progresses, it's revealed that Michael has died by suicide. No one knew the reason. Was it debts or substance abuse? It was a mystery. Although a talented chef armed with a James Beard Award and a crystal-clear portfolio of working at Michelin-starred restaurants, Carmy experiences immense resistance from the staff to change how Beef was run. The debt-ridden restaurant's older staff included Michael's best friend, the short-tempered Richie, desert chef Marcus, line cook Tina, and line cook Ebrahim. While facing resistance from the staff, Carmy was also fighting his demons, which emanated from working under an extremely demanding and abusive boss back in New York City. Excellence couldn't be compromised was a phrase drilled into his head. So how could Carmy just let things be at Beef? The restaurant required a paradigm shift in the way things had to be done. Enter a young recruit, Ayo Edebiri, a budding talented chef and a passout from the Culinary Institute of America, or CIA, who agrees to work as an apprentice since she is a fan of Carmy and because her father loves the restaurant. Beef sure had a legacy, and the old staff wanted to retain it, which was against Carmy's desire to upgrade the restaurant. Carmy wanted to completely change the menu by keeping the favorites until problems cropped up one after another. First, the health inspector points to multiple hygiene and safety issues being violated at the restaurant. And second, Michael owed $300,000 to their family friend, Jimmy, also referred to as Uncle Cicero. Jimmy offers to buy the restaurant, but Carmy doesn't agree. Carmy keeps drowning in these new revelations, and the past trauma of his work life keeps pushing him into a psychological den of self-loathing. He shuts down everyone around him, even his sister Natalie, also known as Sugar, who struggles to connect with him. The worst of the revelations is when Richie, who's at loggerheads with Carmy, ridiculing him for his high-profile past, informs him that Michael had shot himself due to mental health issues. Richie accuses Carmy of ruining everything that Michael had made. Beef's past was now like a peeled onion to Carmy, where nothing was right except a silver lining in Sydney, who was ready to make the change Carmy wanted but was inexperienced. Carmy relies on her to manage the kitchen after making her the sous chef and managing the obstinate staff to implement a structured kitchen brigade. The story progresses, but with each story beat, Carmy mentally deranges since the stress is insurmountable due to his ex-boss's constant ridicule that if you are not excellent, you are a loser. The contrasting situations in his past job and the present situation at Beef make him mirror the meanness of his ex-boss, and Sydney feels the heat of it when he rejects her pristinely prepared risotto. The risotto earns the restaurant a good review, reinforcing to Sydney that Carmy wasn't a know-it-all and was battling with his issues. Carmy behaves irresponsibly with Sydney, and she quits. As Carmy and his sister Sugar try to work through the unpaid taxes and missing documents, kitchen politics takes shape until they find hidden food cans, as revealed in one of the letters addressed to Carmy by Michael. The hidden cans carried several dollar bills, revealing Michael had saved up big time. This scene is so iconic when the dollar bills roll down, it made me feel that Michael all along didn't pay his taxes or maintain the restaurant, as if he was trying to save up for this day so that his little brother could do something meaningful with the restaurant. Season 1 ends when Carmy strikes a truce with the staff, apologizes to Sydney, and announces a shutdown of beef so that they can repurpose and renovate it as the new The Bear. Season 2. While preparations are made to open the resurrected The Beef as The Bear, Carmy and Sydney prepare the new menu and appoint Sugar as the project manager in charge of renovations. Since Michael's savings were falling short, they borrowed $500,000 from Uncle Cicero on the condition that they would repay it in 18 months, or he would take ownership of the property. It was a tall task, as they decided to open in 3 months. As they take steps to reach the deadline, Carmy and Sydney implement changes in training the staff. Marcus is sent to Copenhagen to train as a pastry chef under Chef Luca, the same place Carmy did. Tina and Deborah are sent to the culinary school, while Richie is sent to a fancy restaurant, Ever, to be trained as a restaurant manager and butler. Richie doesn't take this well since he thinks Carmy was trying to get him out of the restaurant due to his past run-in with the law in Season 1. In my opinion, Richie's story track in this season blossomed so much that it forced me to change my opinion of him. Seeing Richie crib and rant, waking up at dawn so that he could make it on time at the upscale restaurant for training, was nothing short of comical relief. His earlier portrayal made him seem like he was a prick and a nuisance to Carmy's vision. However, seeing the vulnerable Richie take control of his life at the fancy restaurant and get trained made me his fan, and earned him his fan following. Things start looking up at the Bear when Carmy connects with his school sweetheart Claire, a medical professional, and attends his Al-Anon to resolve his past trauma. Claire becomes Carmy's source of motivation and positivity. Still, Sydney resents this since she thinks Carmy is losing focus, and this turns out to be true when Carmy fails to complete his tasks of sampling food at other restaurants so that they can improve their menu. While Sydney sticks to her commitment, Carmy fails. Construction challenges crop up because they find mold in the restaurant, threatening the tight deadline. Another challenging part was to pass the fire suppression test and get the liquor license. Eber runs away from the culinary school, but Tina stays to find a new purpose in her sad life. Marcus excels in his dessert-making training. Carmy attends Al-Anon meetings where he confronts his demons and says he is always very strong about excelling. Carmy becomes more responsive and inclines more towards Claire. While Sydney remains diligent, Carmy drifts, and Sydney learns from a friend about the importance of having a good partner to run a restaurant. Carmy did not check the boxes of a good partner. Things worsen when Sydney figures out Carmy makes big decisions in the kitchen without consulting her. As a month passes, Sugar reveals she is pregnant and would have to cut down on her duties. Recruitment begins at the Bear as they near the opening day. Season 2 also takes us back to Chef Carmy's days in Copenhagen, where he trained to be a chef. One day, when he returns home to spend Christmas with the family, the makers intelligently give us a detailed understanding of Carmy's dysfunctional family, including his edgy, domineering mom, Donna, and his brother, Michael. Michael resents Donna's boyfriend, and things spiral to a point of no return. In this episode, I completely understood the origin of Carmy's rage, frustration, and self-loathing. Carmy's relationship with Claire advances, and a romantic liaison develops. Sydney takes Tina's help in perfecting the menu. Richie nears the end of his training and is so happy with his progress that he requests owner Terry, actor Olivia Colman, if he could stay back. He isn't convinced anyone likes him at the Bear, but Terry tells him that Carmy has faith in his skills. Richie feels the joy of being appreciated. He was now trained in dealing with a busy dining service and looks forward to returning to The Bear. Soon, only 10 days are left until the opening, as Carmy and Sydney stress over passing the requisite tests. Eber returns, and the refurbished Richie seems like everything would go right for the Bear. And it did. They passed the fire suppression test, and as Uncle Cicero handed the business license to Carmy, the restaurant was declared open with new servers teaming the place. The restaurant was booked for 2 weeks in advance, but Sugar and Richie knew they needed more bookings if they had to square off the loans. On opening night, the staff's friends and family attend. Claire was there too. The evening sails, with a cook leaving in the middle of the rush. Sydney and Tina double up as help, and Richie's true talent comes into play as the crisis manager. Here was a man who had reformed, but Carmy hadn't. Out of the many shared responsibilities between him and Sydney, one was to fix the walk-in refrigerator door. He hadn't done it and walked in only to get locked in. Inside the closed refrigerator, he yells and curses himself, saying he wasn't eligible to enjoy life and failed because he had taken it lightly by fooling around with Claire. He was an award-winning chef for a reason. It was because of his focus on Excel. Claire overhears this since she comes looking for him so that she can wish him well for the evening. She leaves, absolutely devastated. Later, when Carmy hears a voicemail left by Claire earlier in the day confessing her love for him, he feels guilty, which sets Richie into a fit of rage, who gives him an earful. Throughout the season, I sensed Sydney being overexploited and underappreciated. Carmy just didn't have time to see her contribution to the restaurant, and this showed when Sydney barfed at the end of the opening night since she put so much pressure on herself. She invited her father because she wanted him to like what she had prepared. She was the sous chef, after all, whose past was that of a failed takeout caterer. I thought Sydney should dump the place because neither Claire nor Sydney deserved a self-obsessed guy like Carmy. Season 2 ends with the bear being open, but relationships being closed.
3:52, 8:13:29, sorry, chef.
Season 3 premiered exactly a year ago and dove into the successful functioning of the Bear, which was now a fine dining place that had replaced the chaos-ridden Beef. But was everything okay on the inside? No. Carmy was still recovering from the jolt of losing Claire for his wrongdoing. He attends Al-Anon meetings and wonders about the value of apologies. Carmy apologizes to Richie and Sydney for his earlier behavior and negligence. Carmy even hands over Sydney a partnership contract to validate and legitimize her position in the Bear. He writes down a list of things that the Bear had to follow to be the best. One was changing the menu daily. This non-negotiable meets with resistance from the staff, especially Richie and Sydney, who figure that Carmy still has the boss's attitude despite the apology and the contract. The daily changing of the menu led to higher expenses, meeting the refrain of Sugar and Uncle Cicero. Carmy was adamant and becoming increasingly crabby with the pressures of a new menu every day. Sydney buys a new home, but also introspects her position at the Bear after Adam Shapiro, a chef from Chef Terry's Ever, offers her the post of head chef at his new restaurant. Sydney figures she hadn't signed the contract Carmy had given her because, deep inside, she was unhappy with her job. Around this time, Sugar goes into labor while she's out to get supplies for the Bear, and unable to get through to her husband Pete, she calls her estranged mom, Donna, who rushes her to the hospital. At the hospital, Sydney sends food for Sugar, and Pete tells her that Carmy is giving her a raw deal with the contract, further deepening Sydney's doubts about Carmy. Pete's honesty with Sydney validates the fact that Sydney's character is the nicest in the series and has helped Carmy and the others at every level. She was the kindest of all characters. Even Sugar knowed that trait. I don't know whether the makers wanted to demarcate kindness as a gender thing and only assigned it to the women characters, but my doubts are shot down in an episode on Tina's past where she was laid off and got into a relentless job hunt. One day, while on a job hunt, after many doors are being slammed on her, she lands at Michael's restaurant, The Original Beef. When she orders coffee, she breaks down, wondering about her future, and Michael offers her a job as a line cook. This story track justifies the original resistance of the staff against Carmy and their loyalty to the kind Michael. As days pass, the Bear's kitchen becomes more dysfunctional as Richie reasons Carmy's insane desire to change the menu daily, justifying Sydney's concern about the Bear. It annoys her that Carmy called the shots as and when he pleased. The staff works hard, and old staff are rehired to smooth things, but the facts facts. Two comical characters recurring from Season 1 push Carmy to reconcile with Claire. Seeing Carmy's deteriorating mental health, the facts corner Claire into talking to Carmy, who's ashamed of his doing. Meanwhile, the food critics visit the bear, and all the crew wait with bated breath for the Chicago Tribune review. Sydney was now staring at a concrete offer from Adam that reeked of better benefits and co-ownership. Word comes in that Chef Terry has decided to shut down Ever and invites all her ex-staff and colleagues for the closing dinner. Hearing Chef Terry's sudden exit, Carmy wonders if he had it in him to run the bear. Would it have a future with such a level of competition? He didn't have an answer. Carmy, Sydney, and Richie all go for the closing dinner, where Carmy confronts his demonic boss, David Fields, accusing him of relegating him to a nervous wreck. David brushes off the accusation, saying it helped him get this far. This response further enrages Carmy, while Sydney gets a panic attack, thinking about the review elsewhere. As the rest of the guests disperse, Carmy sees numerous missed calls on his phone and a review from the Tribune. Season 3 ends. What to expect from Season 4? What's the plot? I want to know if the bear will continue functioning, since Season 3 did a terrific job leaving us in limbo with Carmy's chat with Chef Terry. His chat with her was profound and introspective, which subsequently led to his moments of self-doubt. I'm also eager to know about the Chicago Tribune review, because if the review is positive, Carmy will turn into his abusive boss David to maintain the highest standards. The menu would change daily, leading to more expenses and faltering on the loan. If the review is negative, Carmy might just fall into a slumber or get aggressive in his pursuit of excellence. I agree, the stakes are high for Season 4. Each character was cast into a mold, and it seems they may just break it. The show is at a tipping point, and it can't get any more thrilling than this. This is drama at its peak, with a dash of humor. I love that the makers are releasing all 10 episodes in one go instead of the weekly drop-ins, which says a lot about their confidence. Sorry, maybe it's just me, but except for suspense dramas, I think episodes that drop in every week reflect their low confidence. I hate the wait and watch approach. So in my opinion, the makers of The Bear are going out with all guns blazing to release Season 4. Season 3 left us with serious questions, apart from those I mentioned above, such as, will Sydney quit The Bear? Will the team be able to return Uncle Cicero's loan? Or will Donna return to complicate Carmy's life? Do Claire and Carmy have a future? And so on. What's important to note is that Carmy must make peace with his ambitions and listen to Richie and Sugar's concerns about running a fine dining restaurant. He must strike a balance no matter what if we long to see a Season 5. Carmy at the moment is the weakest link. He's fragile and can sway in any direction. Will he rise to the occasion? I would want to see if Carmy can take on the confidence of his older brother Michael and sustain it, because while Carmy is acting like the captain of the ship, he's bad at being one. Cast and crew. Christopher Storer, the show's creator, returns as writer and director. Ayo Edebiri and Lionel Boyce reprise their roles as Sydney and Marcus, but also get behind the scenes by writing an episode for Season 4. Both debut as writers in this season. We've already seen Edebiri get directed by credits in Season 3's episode Napkins. The cast remains the same, including lead Jeremy Allen White. The series' 4th season is due to release on June 25, 2025 on FX and Hulu. Characters such as Donna Berzatto, the matriarch played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who played a small but powerful role in Season 3, feature in Season 4's trailer, confirming that she's returning. So we can expect either complication or reconciliation. With Michael gone, it looks like there will be reconciliation. Cliffhangers in the Season 4 trailer. Some cliffhanger moments in Season 4 showed Uncle Cicero questioning how much money is left. Money has surely remained an important part of the story, making us wonder if the bear will stay afloat or go the beef way in Season 4. The chaos continues, but the characters seem to take cognizance of the fact that things are wrong and need improvement. Carmy realizes this, and that's important. I didn't see Claire anywhere, which implies Carmy is putting his relationship with her on the back burner unless the makers surprise us. Also, when Carmy hears his mother say hello to him, the expression on his face is a mix of acknowledgement and dissent. I want to see whether he'll accept the new, improved mother of his. Finally, it seems like it'll all come together this season. Looking forward. Marvelous verdict. The bear is so symbolic because it's not just the name of the restaurant that Carmy has resurrected and renamed, but also Carmy's nickname. Nicknames are given out of love, yet Carmy, throughout the season, keeps having visions of a ferocious bear inside a cage, which rightfully reflects his mind engaged with past trauma and rage. Yet naming the restaurant with his nickname made me wonder if he was out of the cage or going back in. It's a thought that'll always bother me, and with Season 4 coming out, I want many of these questions answered. Do you think likewise? Let me know. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.